Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. In today's video, I'm going to discuss a way, a tried and true way to locate, assess, evaluate, vet, and recruit new members for a group. How do you go about doing that? Well, I'll tell you one way that was done successfully for many years. But first, more of this. I shot this whole video already this morning. I went inside to upload it and realized I was talking to a camera that was not recording. Yeah, it's recording now. All right, this morning, real quick, truck issues. My big truck, it won't start. And I had a brother mechanic come out and look at it, and he goes, "It's your starter." And he tested everything, you know, all the little wires and testing. I'm not good at that yet. So I took the starter in to O'Reilly's to get a new one, and the guy said, "You want me to test it?" And I said, "No, man, I've already tested it. It's cool." He goes, "Well, I can test it." I said, "Okay." You know, he's a young guy, gauges in the ears and stuff, and he tested it, and it goes, just whirs nice, works good. He goes, "Man, this sounds like a really good starter. Starter's not the problem." I said, "Okay." So I brought the starter back. Another brother who's a mechanic came out, tested everything, put the starter in, tested nothing, checked all the wires. You know, when I turn the ignition key, the whole dashboard lights up, you know. Battery's got good power. He goes, "Man, it's got to be your starter." Well, how do you explain the fact that it worked in the shop? He goes, "I don't know." So what I'm going to do today is, go pick up a new starter. I think they're 30, 40 bucks. Put it on, hook it up, try to start the truck. If it doesn't start and it's not the starter, I'll have a brand new starter on the truck, and I'll have a well-used one that still works, you know, in reserve. So that's what we're going to do today. And then my little truck's been in the shop for about a week, just getting front end stuff done, and we're picking that up today too. So we'll have wheels again, which will be nice. All right. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, not that far away actually, I was a member of I'm going to extend this a little bit, make it easier to hold. I was a member of a MAG, a mutual assistance group, and we started with just a couple friends, and we wanted to get bigger. Well, how do you find people, right, to get bigger? We had decided, after much thought, discussion, and meetings, that the purpose of our MAG, and I have it written down somewhere, but it was basically that we recognized that families came first, and that the best way that we could protect our family was to band together with other like-minded families who, you know, owed allegiance to the team, or, you know, something like that. And so back then, this was late 90s, early 2000s, there were these survivalist events a couple times a year all around the country, and we would go to them. And, you know, they were the equivalent of like a rabbit stick for preppers kind of thing. People would just come from all over, and I've talked about it before. Back in those days, everybody wore BDUs, even the little children. And we would have a series of classes, everything from how to can on a fire to how to zero a rifle to, you know, whatever. Prepper classes that people would teach. And there'd be about 100 so people there, all camped around a big field somewhere that somebody had arranged for. And, you know, tables set up. People would trade and sell stuff. We'd eat together. It's a good time. You meet a lot of people. The reason our team went was to find potential new members. And we were interested, although this one big event that we would go to attracted people from pretty much all over the country. We were interested in finding people who lived in our neck of the woods to evaluate for possible membership. So then we would find everybody at that camp out. Oh, and when our team went there to the camp out, we didn't camp together. See, we didn't tell people we were a team. We didn't figure that would benefit us in any way. And so, you know, one team member would be over here, one would be over here, one would be on the other side of the field, and we didn't hang out together. We'd talk to each other, but we didn't hang out together because we're all looking. And when we found people within our regionally defined area, we would invite them. We actually brought flyers with us to the regional, you know, prepper camp out that we would organize at one of our hosts, at one of our members' house. He would host it. And we still wouldn't tell people we were a team. It would just be like, "Hey, there's this regional camp out coming out. It's only 6 hours from where you live. It's coming up, you know, on this month. Would you like to come?" And we'd try to get them to come. And then if they came, that allowed us time to actually sit around campfires, spend time with them, talk to them. What are you into? What do you do? What do you think? How are you? What's the family situation like? Really get to know them a little bit better. And we still didn't tell people we were a team. I'm here at the camp out just like everybody else is because I live in the region. And then from that group of people, we would talk as a team later, and we would select certain individuals. Sometimes there wasn't anybody that came that we wanted to select. Certain individuals, we'd bring them to another camp out for a final look, a more private camp out, where we would do stuff, training and stuff, and we would encourage them to bring their entire family, nuclear family. Because, if it was a guy and his wife and kids were at home for all the other campouts we were at, well, we don't want to let somebody into our group if it turns out, the wife is just a screaming monster. Excuse me. Or the kids are just brats, or something like that. We got to see the whole package. Or if it's a wife, and the husband, she says he can't come because he's driving a truck that weekend or so. It's like, well, when can he come? Maybe we can change it so he can come. But we'd want to meet the whole family. Once we met the whole family, either at that camp out or sometimes people got invited to like 4 or 5 campouts before I pitched them. But our team would vote on if we wanted to accept this family in our group. And it had to be 100% vote. The way we looked at it, we have a good team, things are going good. Let's not cause dissension by bringing in a family that this family doesn't like. Let's keep what's good, right? And so that's had to have 100% vote. But once we had the 100% vote, I was the guy who got to go approach the new person and say, hey, you may or may not know it, but we have a thing here. We have a team, and if you're interested, I could tell you about it, and we'd like to ask you to join. And then we would let them in on the purpose of the team and what we expected of every team member, and then they would join. And they would start training with us. And we trained every 4 to 6 weeks. We'd have a training event for our team where we'd get together for a weekend. And they didn't know it yet, but they were on probation, right? And if they didn't pass probation, then we would just quit inviting them to stuff and say, yeah, we just were too busy. And that happened in one case. And then once they passed probation, we kind of let them into the inner secrets of the realm. Here's where the caches are and all that stuff. And so that is a way. It was a successful way to recruit people into the team, and it's a way you could consider. And if you're like, well, I don't know of any, big prepper gatherings like that I could go to. Okay, well then host one. Go rent a conference room in a hotel or rent a picnic area or something, and just put out on all your social media, Facebook, Craigslist, whatever, prepper meetup with no other personal intention other than to meet serious people, and realizing that a lot of people that show up are going to be unacceptable. But you don't tell them that's what you're there for. You just bring them together and arrange for a couple people to give classes on how to do a bug out bag, car kit, whatever. Just bring people together and start assessing them. And then start, walking down the pike from there. But don't be in too much of a hurry. It takes time to get to know somebody. It takes sharing hardship. That's why we would do campouts. For most people, campouts are a little bit uncomfortable. And we wouldn't cancel them because of rain or snow or whatever. And we had them all year round. And so you get to see people at their best and at their worst, and that helps you evaluate them. So yeah, if you don't have something like that in your area, start one. If you do have things like that in your area, like I'm speaking at a Northwest Arkansas gun and prepper show, 26 November, I think in Springdale somewhere. I'm sure you can find it on the internet if you live in the area. That's a place to meet people. But the thing is, you don't just go to meet people. You have to have a plan in place. When I meet people, what am I looking for? When I find that, where are we going next? When is our next meeting? And then get them invited to the next meeting. It's a thing I used to do in life. It's like you meet somebody and the sole purpose of the contact was to get a second meeting, right? I just want to meet you again. So Think about that. Have a plan. Get out there. You got to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there. You can't be hiding behind a keyboard in your house, eating Doritos and drinking Coke, thinking, I can't find anybody. Yeah, well, they're not in your bedroom with you, right? You're not going to find them there. You have to get out and meet people in the meat world. All right. I hope that was helpful. I had a good time. I'll see you out there.